Okay, we are now live with yet another episode of the Phoenix Wright Ace Attorney Trilogy, and we will be starting this episode in just a few moments here. I'm just getting everything ready. Okay, now that everything is all set and ready to go, let's go ahead and get this episode of the Phoenix Wright Ace Attorney Trilogy underway. Good evening, everybody. This is XE6 here, and welcome back to my Let's Play of the Phoenix Wright Ace Attorney Trilogy. This is part number 43 of this Let's Play series. And so in the last episode, we have managed to begin the fifth and final episode of Trials and Tribulations entitled Bridge to the Turnabout. We headed to the Hezekora Temple, I believe it was called, and I met with a couple people there, including the victim Elise, who ended up getting killed off, unfortunately. And Phoenix fell off a bridge while he was trying to see if Maya was okay. And of course, we now switch things over with Mr. Miles Edgeworth, as he is back. We did the investigation with Detective Gumshoe. We did get a bit of evidence, and there has been no sight of where Maya and Pearls are located. And of course, the person that's being accused of the murder is Iris, who Phoenix has realized, and Miles has realized, that she looks strangely familiar. Who in this case, I believe, is Dahlia, who we saw in the past couple of episodes, back in episode 1 of Trials and Tribulations and episode 4 of Trials and Tribulations. So in this episode, we are going to be doing the first part of the fifth trial in Trials and Tribulations. We're going to see how well we're going to do in this one. I'm not quite sure how this is going to go, but let's get to it. February 9th, 9:47 a.m., District Court Defendant Lobby Number 1.
Oh my, Mr. Lorraine feels that way about me?
Apparently, he isn't aware of your real secret at all. This is no time to be embarrassed.
I'm sorry. I'm just hardly accustomed to that sort of thing.
Worry not. And in any case, whatever it was that he saw on the night of the incident, mark my words, I will drag it out of him.
Does that mean Mr. Lorius is the witness today?
No. I believe that none will be the first to take the stand.
Okay, so so it will be Bikini that will be first. And yes, that's her actual name. Bikini, yeah. I was actually surprised that this was actually her name. I was really shocked. Like, what?
I believe that none will be the first to take the stand.
Sister Bikini?
She claims to have seen the very instant in which you carried out the crime. I just want to ask you one last time. It really wasn't you who killed Miss Elise Yaxiam, correct?
That is correct. It wasn't me.
Very well, then.
Mr. Edgeworth?
Yes.
You are a prosecutor, aren't you? Are you sure about this? If your true identity is revealed...
Don't worry. I've made the necessary arrangements.
I see.
Iris, it is a prosecutor's job to doubt people. But right now, I am a defense attorney. A defense attorney's job is to believe in people, and to believe until the bitter end. That's what my friend told me once.
Mr. Edgeworth?
I simply ask that you watch and decide for yourself, whether or not I am fit to do the task I have been entrusted.
Very well, sir. I leave my defense in your capable hands.
Okay, so here we go. I'm not sure how long this trial is going to be, but we're going to find out soon enough. But this is only the first part, so we don't know exactly what's going to be going down as of yet. February 9th, 10 a.m., District Court, Courtroom Number 7. Oh, we do get a different judge here.
Court is now in session for the trial of Sister Iris of Hazakura Temple.
The defense is ready, Your Honor.
The defense does indeed appear to be ready. However, the same cannot be said for the prosecution in this case.
Indeed.
I'm not sure I like such a blatant waste of this court's time. An empty prosecutor's chair can only mean that the prosecutor has no confidence in their ability to prove their case. It would seem this case is already over before it had a chance to begin.
I doubt that.
I am ready to announce my verdict at this time. This court finds the defendant...
Objection!
No! Francisca! Oh no! As soon as that whip came, and as soon as we heard that objection, what is she doing here? Wait. Oh no! Wow! Francisca Von Karma is back with a vengeance! Oh my gosh, I cannot believe it's her. No! So that means we have to face off against her in order to prove Iris's innocence. My gosh. Oh my goodness. No way. Okay, I have to remember what Francisca's voice. I'm going to have to kind of remember what voice I gave her when I did, because it's been a while since we've last seen her since the 4th and final episode of Justice for All. That was the last time we've saw Francisca. And now she's back. Oh my goodness. So listen, we don't have to deal with Godot this time. It's Francisca. The prosecution stands ready.
and you are?
Francisca Von Karma, prosecuting prodigy.
Von Karma, you say? Perchance you wouldn't be of any relation to the legendary prosecutor Manfred Von Karma.
Legends are a thing of the past. I am a Von Karma. That is all. Upon a special request, I flew in today for the purposes of persecuting this case.
You did? Then you must be quite a big shot, eh? By the way, Mr. Edgeworth.
Yes, Your Honor.
I'm almost certain that I've seen you somewhere before. Or am I just imagining things? You look very much like a prosecutor I met once.
I believe you are imagining things, Your Honor.
Miss Von Karma, do you have anything to say?
There is no such weakling as this man among those of the prosecutor's office. Oh, so she's playing along with this. So Edgeworth must have came into contact with Francisca, and since Godot's nowhere to be seen, that means they got Francisca to help out with the trial. I guess Miles Edgeworth must have pulled a few strings, and Francisca must have agreed to do this. I think that's my theory of this one. I'm not quite sure. But man, oh man, this is going to be an interesting trial.
There isn't. But I'm sure, once before in this courtroom...
I told you, there is no such weakling.
But what is that? A whip? I'm not sure I care for such a thing in my courtroom. Bailiff, remove that whip.
Hold it!
I have no objection to the whip.
You don't?
The prosecution can wield a whip or drink 17 cups of coffee. But there is still only one truth. That is what I stand here to prove today.
This promises to be interesting. Miles Edgeworth. I had expected to face Phoenix Wright here today. But looking at you now, maybe this is what I've been waiting for all this time. Miles Edgeworth, I will not allow this chance to crush you slip through my fingers.
I see you brought your flair for that histronic.
Allow me to add to the things I'm not sure about. People acting bizarrely in my court. Ugh!
The stage is set. Now continue with the proceedings, Your Honor.
Very well. Miss Von Karma, please give an outline of this case, with as little whipping as possible.
The murder victim is the famed picture book author, Miss Elise Diaxiom. Her body was found in the Hazakura Temple courtyard. She had been stabbed through the torso by a ceremonial sword from a golden statue.
The sword in this picture. Is the weapon in question correct? Very well. The court accepts this photo of the crime scene.
Crime photo, the courtyard where Elise Diaxiom was murdered. There is no mistake. This was the doing of Sister Iris. After all, there is a witness to her crime.
Very well. Please bring this witness to the stand.
And so it begins. My first and last trial as a defense attorney. Witness, state your name and occupation, please.
Hold on here. I'm not sure about being not sure if I care for this at all. Witness, please stand up nice and straight.
If I recall correctly, there are a few milk crates in the defendant's lobby for our back pain-plagued witness.
Bailiff, fetch a crate for this poor lady, please.
Once again, your name and occupation, please. Little old me. Well, I'm the head nun of Hazakura Temple on Eagle Mountain. My name is Bikini. You got it? Bikini. Nice to meet everyone. Even he is stunned by the name.
But you don't appear...
Oh my gosh! Oh dear, this is gonna be one fun trial we're gonna have here. My goodness gracious.
But you don't appear to be wearing a bikini right now.
The courtroom is the garden of holy judgment. Those with Licheri in their hearts should leave the sanctuary at once.
You want me to leave?
No need to get your bikinis in a twist. Oh my gosh. Oh, that's a new one. Okay, let me read it again. No need to get your bikinis in a twist. Let me tell you, I'm a sight to behold in summer.
In any case, witness, I hear that you saw the crime take place on the night in question.
That's right. I can still hardly believe it myself, to be honest. There's no way dear little Iris could do anything like that.
Let us hear what you have to say, then. First, tell us about your own movements that night, eh?
Okay, here we go. The night of the murder. Let's see what she has to say. That night, I was helping an occult with her training in the inner temple. But, well, as you can see, my back likes to act up violently. So, I left Iris to help the Occult and returned to Hasakura Temple. There's no bath at the inner temple, you see, and I needed a long, hot soak. It was after I'd finished, just as I was heading back. That's when I saw it.
So it was simply coincidence that you found yourself returning to Hasakura Temple.
Yes, you could say that. If my back hadn't been in so much pain, I would have stayed at the inner temple. That sounds like a pretty important statement she just made. There's only one problem with this testimony that I can see. And you're not about to fall at the first hurdle. Now are you, Miles Edgeworth?
Mr. Edgeworth, please begin your cross-examination.
This is going to be an interesting one.
Hold it!
What is this inner temple?
Well, see, conversing with the spirits is what we train people to do, right?
We'll be the ones asking you the questions, madam.
In order to do that, a place strong in spiritual power is required. There's a small temple across Susky Bridge called the Inner Temple. Acolytes must spend an entire night there to undergo intense training.
And how exactly do you help with this process?
It is all quite exciting. It can't be performed without a nun supervising. Like a tutor, watching to make sure a spoiled child studies. A tutor with a whip, in your case.
If that is the case, then why did you return to Hasakura Temple, where the murder took place?
Hold it!
Violently.
That's right. It's no laughing matter, especially in winter. I can't hold anything heavier than a knife and fork during the cold months. Just being alive is like strict training.
On the night of the murder, was this fabulous back of yours hurting again?
That's right. Raging like a bull in a pig pen. I almost fainted once or twice. I just knew that unless I warmed it up, it was going to finally finish me off.
Hold it!
You left Iris to help with what?
What do you think? The Occult's training, of course. It was just past 10 p.m., so we were starting to enter into the training exercises proper.
Wasn't it your place to remain with the disciple?
Well, the job is simply to watch over the Occultists so that they don't pass away.
Just to confirm this point again that night, you met Iris in the inner temple, correct?
Yes. She's a gentle, honest girl. She's never once failed to follow my directions.
Hold it!
So you returned to the Hasakura Temple in order to take a bath?
My back is to blame for everything. It's a do-or-be-done in kind of world, after all.
How long were you in the bath for, if you don't mind me asking?
My. What a filthy little rogue you are. I know what's on your mind. I bet your next question is going to be, where exactly did you wash? This is why you have to watch the young ones.
What are you going on about? I was...
Pathetic, Miles Edgeworth.
The lowest of the low.
Is there some sort of kick-me sign stuck to the defense bench? Well, you fell for that one. Anyway, I couldn't afford to be away from my post for too long. You understand, so...
Hold it!
The crime took place in the courtyard, correct?
When you go from my room to the main hall, you have to take a winding hallway from which you can see the courtyard. That's right. In other words, it was pure coincidence that the witness saw the crime taking place before her eyes. There was no complicated setup in this case.
That certainly seems to be true.
There is indeed only one problem with this testimony. If I can clearly point out what it is, then I can begin to quantify just how good this witness' memory and observation skills are. Okay. Now we need to make sure we don't screw this up here. Let's see. The night I was helping an occultist with her training, okay. Well, as you can see, my back likes to act up violently, so I left Iris to help the occulted in return to the Hasakura Temple. There's no bath at the inner temple, you see, and I needed a long... Okay. It was after I had finished, just as I was heading back, that's where I saw it. Oh my goodness.
Objection!
Okay, so it wasn't that. I was kind of trying to see if that was the case.
Objection!
Let's see.
Objection!
Oh, wait. Oh, I think it was this one. So I left Iris to help the Acolyte and returned to Hazakura Temple. And so I have to use Iris' testimony, which reads, rang lights out, bell at 10 p.m. and was then in her room until the murder was discovered.
Objection!
Okay, so it was that. Okay, so I just used... So I was right using that evidence, but I used it on the wrong testimony. Okay.
Witnesses have to undergo their own trials, I'm afraid. The defendant's fate rests on their powers of observation and memory, after all.
Well. Don't worry. I'm more than up to the task. I'm a woman of faith, after all. The head honcho of Hazakura Temple.
In that case, Miss Honcho, I'd like you to explain something for me. The discrepancy between your testimony and that of the defendant Iris. She claims that after ringing the lights out bell, she went back and stayed in her room. Which means she did not go to the inner temple at all.
No! She said that? A defendant or witness? Who is more likely to lie? Do you suppose? The defendant is simply lying to cover her back.
Objection!
But that is completely illogical. The murder was committed in the courtyard of Hazakura Temple. Claiming that she went to the inner temple would make for a much better alibi.
But that is odd. Whatever the reason, I can't believe that she would lie.
She does indeed have honest eyes.
All people lie. That is my belief.
Why am I the only one being whipped in here? Anyway, neither the witness nor the defendant have any reason to lie. Which means we must call your memory into question.
Dear. You're older than me, and yet you want to play that game, do you?
Well, that isn't exactly what I...
My memory is perfect, crystal clear, especially in winter.
Then, I suppose it's too early to end this cross-examination, eh? Mr. Edgeworth, if you are going to question the memory of this witness, you will need to show me a more decisive piece of evidence.
Understood, Your Honor.
I was naive to think that alone would do the trick.
Please add your comments about Iris to the testimony, and let us return to the cross-examination.
That night I was okay. As you can see in my back, Iris came to the inner temple. She was dressed exactly as she had been at dinner.
Hold it!
Are you sure that you're not making a mistake?
You, young man, need to get your estimation of the up from the floor. Iris always wears the same clothes. The smallest thing out of the place would have stood out like a sore thumb to me. You're making a mistake. Thinking I made a mistake.
An excellent finish there, witness.
Still, I have to wonder. Okay, let me save real quick on both datas, just in case. Okay, well, she was missing something. Was it the hood?
Objection!
Oh yeah, it was the hood.
Witness, let's get one thing straight. The defendant whom you claim to have met, she was wearing this demon warding hood, correct?
Of course. That is a very important piece of clothing. I'll have you know. Wait a minute.
Objection!
Hold it right there. Why do you have that?
That's the question of the day, now isn't it, Miss Von Karma? I'll have you know that this hood was given to someone as a gift that night, before the lights out bell was rung.
What?
You know where I'm going with this, don't you? If the witness had seen the defendant as she claims, then the iris she saw should have been missing this very hood.
Well, well, well! It's not a bad feeling at all. Exposing contradictions like this. Now I understand the happy look on Wright's face every time he does it.
Order in the court. Witness your response. Oh!
Sister! This hood. You've spare ones around the temple, don't you? Spares? Well, I do tend to make too many of them.
I see. Stockpile. A surplus of hoods, eh?
Each nun is only given one hood. This should be the only hood that Iris owned.
Then this is quite strange. Ah!
If there was a surplus of hoods, then she could have worn one of those. There is no contradiction here. I'm sorry to break this to you, Miss Von Karma, but you won't get away that easily. Discrepancies such as this will sow seeds in any human heart. The seeds of doubt.
Witness, while I don't wish to call your testimony into doubt, you must give every detail with precision.
I'm not sure I'm comfortable going along with this. Sister, you shall continue with your testimony. Tell us what you saw after finishing your bath, on your way back to the inner temple. Those seeds of doubt are sprouting in the judge's heart. They just need a little more stimulation to bear fruit. Contradictory stimulation. After my bath. Okay, so that's the next thing we gotta figure out. I finished my bath around 11, and I thought I should return to the inner temple. And as I was walking back, I heard a noise from the courtyard. I took a look and... Iris was! Oh, Mystic Elise! And with that sword, of all things! Mystic Elise was staying in the corner room, which faces out into the courtyard. The stabbing I saw must have occurred after she was pushed out of the window. Let me read it again. The stabbing I saw must have occurred after she was pushed out of her window.
You saw a truly terrible sight, didn't you? If I was in your place, then it would be much like Miss Von Karma whipping Mr. Edgeworth in two in court, and me seeing all from this very chair. Or, well, something like that.
This judge. His imagination is about as vivid and creative as Detective Gumshoe. I would look the fool if I commented on such foolishness. Anyway, this case is mine, Miles Edgeworth.
Calling everyone by their full name. Can't you do something about that habit of yours?
Man, the rivalry is just interesting. Okay. Alright, let me save on both data since we're now on to the second part of this.
Hold it!
How far is it from your room to the inner temple?
Let me think a moment. About 20 minutes on these stumps of mine. It's about 15 minutes to Dusky Bridge from Hasakura Temple. The inner temple is just beyond the bridge. Still, you never made it back there that night, did you? That's right. I was heading along the walkway toward the main hall.
Hold it!
You say you heard a noise.
Thump! Just like that! That could only be the sound of the victim falling. It's very quiet in the temple, you know. It's very quiet in the temple, you know. You can even hear the snow falling from the branches. Thump! Just like that.
But Ben, couldn't this noise you heard have been snow falling to the ground?
I never thought of that. The next one who laughs gets a whipping. Oh my goodness. The next one to laugh gets a whipping. Well, whatever the source of the sound, I looked over at the courtyard and...
Hold it!
This is the second time that the witness has testified to seeing the defendant, but some doubt remains in these claims.
Hey, just what does that mean? Just because you're a good-looking young man doesn't give you the right to...
The murderer who stabbed the victim with the sword, Sister Bikini, try to recall exactly who it was you saw as clearly as you can.
Well, you're a handsome young man, so I'll forgive you. Oh, now that you mention it, there was something awfully strange about her. Something that has been bugging me all this time.
Please don't keep us in suspense.
Her hood! Her hood? That's right. It's coming back to me. Iris, she wasn't wearing her hood. I thought something was out of place, but it all makes sense now, doesn't it? After all, she'd given that hood away to someone, right? Ugh. Huh. You've dug your own grave, Miles Edgeworth.
What do you say, Mr. Edgeworth? Is this testimony important?
We'll just wait a second. The line of questioning is only going to tear the wound open further.
These statements are as useless as the investigations of a certain detective. There is no need to record them.
Very well. Please continue with your testimony.
Let me first just go through the rest of the testimony first before we do anything.
Hold it!
The room the victim was staying in overlooked the courtyard, correct?
Which means the victim's room was on the second floor.
No. Hazakura Temple is a single-story building, but the mountain itself slopes downward, which elevates the main gate side of the temple and the guest rooms in the back to about the height of a two-story building.
I see. And the victim was staying in one of these elevated rooms, correct?
Yes, I should know. I'm the one who carried her things to her room, after all.
Hold it!
What makes you so sure of all this?
It's just like I told you earlier. I heard a noise from the courtyard, okay? Thump! Just like that. You're one smart sister. I'll give you that. The autopsy report states that the victim's body was covered in bruises, indicating a fall from around 10 feet in height.
It appears that the witness was not mistaken.
Yep. I'm more than just a pretty face, especially in winter. I'm a woman of faith, after all, the head honcho of Hazakura Temple. There's only 2 of them working there. What's wrong, Miles Edgeworth? No snappy comeback remark? It doesn't feel like she is lying. This is a very powerful testimony, too. She claims to have seen the instant in which the defendant stabbed the victim. There are only 2 things I can believe in right now: my client Iris and my own abilities as a defense attorney. I'm gonna save real quick and see what happens if we did select the important thing in the testimony. It could lead to something, though.
Hold it!
Oh, wait.
Hold
Oh, it was the other one. initially appeared to put me at a disadvantage, but I can't see any other leads at the moment.
Your Honor, I would like these new statements to be added to the testimony.
Miles Edgeworth, if you want to hang yourself, you need only to ask. I'll gladly lend you my whip.
Witness, add that statement to your testimony.
No problem. Now that you mention it, Iris didn't have her hood on.
Hold it!
You are sure about that?
Yes, after all, we always wear the same clothes. Oh, I don't mean because we're poor. You understand. It's our style. Yes, that's it.
There's absolutely no need to explain yourself.
Anyway, she looked different from normal, so that really stuck out. Like me holding a whippet puppy instead of my whip. He said then it might bite you and not someone else. Iris didn't have her hood on. I'm sure of it.
Very well. Now, please tell us about the victim, eh?
Okay. Let's see.
Objection! 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 Objection!
Trying to see here. Wasn't this? Wasn't that? I don't think it's this. Yeah, it's not that. Let's see. Oh, the autopsy. Okay, so it had to be the autopsy from that last statement. Which the autopsy read 10 to 11 p.m. Cause loss of blood from stab and back. Body fell 10 feet after death. Okay, so that's why the body fell 10 feet after Elise's death. So was Elise killed before she fell? We'll see in a moment.
Impressive logic. That's what I like to say anyway.
Oh, please do. My brain is something else, especially in winter.
However, I think you are overlooking one thing. Miss Von Karma, would you be so kind as to take another look at the autopsy report?
The autopsy report?
The victim did fall from a height of 10 feet. However, this fall was after she was killed.
That's right. It says after death right here.
The scene the witness claims to have seen is contradictory. If the defendant stabbed and killed the victim there in the courtyard, how did the victim then go on to take a 10-foot fall?
Order, order. The victim was killed and then fell. If that is the case, then the victim must have been killed in her room. Don't you agree?
That is the logical conclusion. Yes, that's right. The victim must have been stabbed by the defendant in her own room. And she was then thrown out of her window into the courtyard below.
Objection!
Were there any signs of a struggle in Miss Diaxiom's room? She was stabbed with a sword. That would leave a blood stain. Wouldn't you agree?
Well, Miss Von Karma, was there any blood?
No traces of blood were found in the victim's room.
Your whip has just caused traces of blood to be found on my glorious playoff beard. However, if there was no blood in the room, you claim that...
I'm sure there's no need for me to go over this, as I'm sure Your Honor is well aware of when a stab wound produces the most blood.
When it produces the most blood?
Very little blood is actually lost at the moment of a blade's insertion. If you want to talk about when the most blood would be lost from a body, that would be when the blade is removed.
Indeed, with the weapon still in place, it acts like a lid on the wound.
That's true. With the weapon still in the body, there wouldn't be much bleeding. A perfectly reasonable line of thinking.
We have come to a conclusion, then. The victim was thrown out of the window with the sword still in place. This removes all of the contradictions.
Order, order, order. I must admit that this is a probable version of events.
I expect no less from Franziska Von Karma. She locates and takes control of every vital point.
It seems that we need a clearer testimony from the witness. Remove all suppositions on your part and tell us only the facts, please. Witness, please, remain standing on the crate.
Don't go selling me short now. The weight of the winter snow has bent me out of shape, especially my back and my mood. Sister, please, give us your testimony. I will give you a vigorous massage once we are finished here. With the whip? Oh boy. All right, all right. Further details. All right, let's get to it. When I looked across at the scene, the sword was already in place. Thinking about it now, I didn't actually see her stab Mystic Elise. I've never seen so much blood before. That's when I fainted. You can't blame me, can you? And when I awoke, Mystic Amy was stabbing Mystic Elise through the back.
This all confirms Miss Von Karma's theory.
Von Karma strive for nothing but perfection. Putting together such facts is nothing for me. You should know that, Miles Edgeworth. Perfection is an impossibility Francisca von Karma, and I'm here to teach you just that. Okay, so we're in the last round with Miss Bikini's testimonies. Okay.
Hold it!
At the time, was the victim bleeding?
Well, I was very shocked to be seeing all this, of course. So I'm not entirely sure, but I don't think I saw any blood. Not then. I'm sure that you didn't. The weapon was acting as a plug in the wound.
In any case, let's be clear on one very important point. Did you actually see the instant in which the victim was stabbed?
Hold it!
Think carefully. This is very important.
It's Iris we are talking about here. I'm thinking for all I'm worth. No. When I looked over, the sword was already in Mystic Elise's body. It might not be conclusive, but his testimony supports her theory. The victim was stabbed in her room and then dropped into the courtyard. I think this proves it rather well, Miles Edgeworth.
Hold it!
So you're saying that you saw the victim's blood?
That's right! Some of it had splattered onto Iris, too. When the defendant was arrested, she was meditating in her room, and her blood-flaked clothing was neatly folded in the corner.
What?
Her clothes were blood-flicked as well?
Seems quite conclusive to me.
What should I do? Press this point further? Can't afford to make things look any worse for the defendant. I'll bide my time for now.
Witness, please continue your testimony. From after you witnessed the victim bleeding.
Hold it!
Now, on to what the killer did next. You saw none of it, correct?
Well, I was unconscious. How long were you out for? I don't know. 10, maybe 20 minutes. A young man with a very prickly-looking head woke me up. By stepping on me, actually.
Not sure I like that method of resuscitation.
Well, I wasn't asking for mouth-to-mouth or anything of the sort. But I would have welcomed a more gentle awakening right about then. Let me tell you.
I shall have words with the offender personally. What did you see upon awakening?
Hold it!
By Mystic Amy, you are referring to the golden statue, correct?
Just stabbing someone with the Shito, a sacred treasure, is terrible enough. But to then make Mystic Amy hold the blade? Truly a heinous, despicable crime.
It is easy to despise something. Anyone can do it. However, there is something that cannot be done so easily.
Whatever it is, I'm sure it's doubly hard for you. Anyway, what is the problem?
Exactly why would the killer set up this gruesome scene? Can anyone explain the reasoning behind that?
Oh, I don't think I can.
There isn't always a logical reason behind why someone acts. That's true, so true. In early spring, for example, I often find myself. There isn't always. That phrase might come in handy someday. There are too many unnatural elements in this case. Why was it necessary to use the Shito from the Amy statue as a weapon? Why was the weapon ultimately placed back in the hand of the statue? If I can expose the flaws in this testimony, perhaps then I will begin to find the truth. Okay, so we're at this point now.
Objection!
Let's see.
Objection!
What happens if you press harder on the
Hold it.
statement here?
Going back to your previous statement, you said that you saw little bleeding when the victim was stabbed, but now you say you saw the victim bleeding.
Well, I say that what I saw is what I saw.
What do you see?
Maybe I didn't see the poor woman get stabbed, but I saw the girl pull the sword out of her. Plain as day.
Pulling the sword out.
Well, it wasn't exactly pulling. It was more like it came out.
Witness, you will add this statement to your testimony.
Oh, was that important? More important than you can imagine. I saw the instant in which the blade plunged into the hilt was smoothly drawn out.
Hold it!
Smoothly, you say. You're saying you saw the sword smoothly slide out.
That's right. The whole thing happened right next to the gold statue of Mystic Amy. Mystic Elise was on the ground and Iris was stooped over her. The sword was buried up to the hilt. When Iris stood up, the sword in her hand just slid out of Mystic Elise's body. It slid out from that gaping wound.
It goes without saying that if the sword was removed, it would be bleeding.
Nothing out of place here. Is that really the case? I can't help but feel that something about this testimony is very out of place. That something which couldn't be possible. That something which couldn't possibly have happened appears to have happened.
Objection!
Sister Bikini, you are a reliable witness. At least I like to think so. But there are too many contradictions here.
What do you mean? You make it sound as though I'm a liar. But you're a handsome young man, so I'll forgive you. What contradictions are you talking about?
In the scene that the witness claims to have seen, the weapon was thrust up to its hilt into the victim. Furthermore, the killer withdrew the weapon smoothly from the body. However, both of these are complete impossibilities.
What do you mean? Please explain you... Ugh!
Explain yourself.
To start with, do you think it would be possible to stab someone to the hilt with this? No matter how I look at the defendant, she doesn't appear strong enough for this.
Doesn't appear. What meaningless dribble. I too may appear to be weak and frail, but I can crush men under my heel and make them weep, should I so choose.
The objection stands. I wept a little back there, I must admit.
Objection!
That isn't the only issue here. If this sword was truly stabbed into the body up to the hilt, well, just look at all the branches on it. It certainly wouldn't come out smoothly.
That's...
We also have the problem of the amount of bleeding. It's true that when a blade is left in a body, it acts as a plug of sorts. However, when the weapon is shaped like this, it's an entirely different story. The wound would be too large for the blade to completely stop the bleeding.
That's nothing more than conjecture. In reality, the victim was stabbed with the Cheeto. Even a weapon of this nature may still sometimes slide out smoothly, and may still sometimes stop the blood loss.
Objection!
I'm not finished. There is still one more conclusive contradiction.
You've still got more?
I'm not sure if it's going to be multiple choices, but let's see. We're going to save. We're just going to save a moment.
This one is simple. If this sword really was thrust in all the way to the hilt, Why is there only blood on the tip of it? If this witness is telling the truth, then there should be blood along the entire length of the sword.
No!
Order! Order!
Bravo, Miles Edgeworth. Raising this many contradictions from a single piece of evidence. All the other attorneys I know could maybe manage one, if that.
But what does this all mean? You have proven contradictions regarding the murder weapon, but...
Having come this far, there can only be one answer.
And that is...
The weapon used to kill the victim was not the Shito.
What?
Foolishly foolish idea born from the foolish minds of a foolhardily foolish fool.
Let's examine this again. What was it that made us think this sword was the murder weapon?
Well, it's because Mystic Amy was holding it.
Exactly. However, if you reflect on this, that is the only basis we have to assume such a thing. The impression left by the scene was just too strong. That is what influenced us. It influenced us to believe that the Shito was the murder weapon.
Order! 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 Oh!
So maybe the Shito was not the murder weapon. Even if that is the case, it changes nothing, Miles Edgeworth. The sister here saw everything. She saw the defendant stab the victim with a sword-like object.
That's true. Your response, Mr. Edgeworth?
If that is so, I would like the prosecution to answer the obvious question it raises.
The obvious question?
Yes, namely, where did the real murder weapon disappear to?
That's the big question. If the Shito was not the real murder weapon, then where would the real one be? I think that's the biggest question.
It goes without saying, but the police searched the main hall and the surrounding area. Perhaps the prosecution can enlighten us as to if a sword-like object was found.
That's...
Answer the question, Miss Von Karma.
No evidence of that kind was found.
Another mystery to throw onto the pile. A trial without a murder weapon is a tricky beast.
Excuse me. Could I say something? I just remembered something, actually. What is it, sister? I was just thinking. It's possible that just maybe what actually happened was it was just over there.
What exactly are you going on about here?
The murder weapon, I mean! Maybe. I think I might know where the sword was disposed of.
You what?
Well then. I think we need to hear testimony from you one more time, sister. Impossible! What else could this old woman have seen? We're gonna find out. Location of the weapon. It's time to find out what she has to say. Bring it! I solved the murder at around 11 p.m. And after asking that it may be reported, I went out to the main gate. And there I saw tracks. Tracks that indicated the snowmobile had been used. It takes 15 minutes to walk to Dusky Bridge, but less than 5 using one of those. Maybe they threw the weapon into Eagle River and came back while I was knocked out. Iris could have done that. She can drive the snowmobile after all.
Witness, please tell us everything you know right away next time.
Well, I'm not in the best of shape. What's with my back and my age, you know. Quite. There were indeed snowmobile tracks in front of the main gate. Here's a photograph.
A snowmobile, eh? I see. Well, it certainly is an interesting theory.
The tracks begin in front of the Hasakura Temple and run all the way to Dusky Bridge. Tracks photo taken that night from main gate to Dusky Bridge. That solves your pesky little problem, yes? The Eagle River's current is quite swift, meaning that it doesn't freeze over in winter, making it the perfect place to dispose of the murder weapon. Did she really go to the river to dispose of the murder weapon?
Mr. Edgeworth, your cross-examination, please.
Oh my gosh.
Hold it!
You are sure about the time?
Yes, I was worried about it, after all.
Why was that?
Because I have a strong sense of responsibility, especially at this time of year. The acolyte was being doused in freezing water at the time. I couldn't very well take it easy in the bath all night, now could I? So at 11, I decided to leave Hasakura Temple. Her estimation of the time seems reliable at least. Please continue, sister.
Hold it!
You asked Phoenix Wright to report the crime, correct?
Right. The one who trampled me. Seems she is the type to hold a grudge. There isn't a phone in the main hall, so I sent him to the bridge. Phoenix Wright. He didn't even have his cell phone on him.
He had forgotten it at home, apparently.
What a naive boy, as always. Not only do I always carry my phone, but I always have my whip in hand too. Anyway, I was really scared. It was taking him a while to get back, so I thought I'd go out by the main gate for a spell.
Hold it!
As I recall, there was a snowmobile outside the main gate when I visited.
That's it. That's the only one we have. It'll run no matter how much snow falls.
Now, you're certain the snowmobile was there at the main gate when you arrived?
Yes, of course. It was parked in front of the gate. So, she had already gone, discarded the murder weapon, and returned by that time. Not sure if it's really relevant. What should I do? Stop there for a second. It looks very likely that the snowmobile is related to this case. Can't help but think that Iris used it, but for what? I'd better hold off on this for now.
Well then, witness, how long does it take to reach the bridge by snowmobile?
Hold it!
In that case, why didn't you use it yourself? You could have spared yourself some walking.
Ah! There's a reason for that. Have we got a moment for me to explain?
I think that's why the question we asked in the first place.
It was about a month ago. I was driving my beloved little snowmobile, happy as can be. I'd fetched some water and was heading back when I went and crashed into a tree. The tree and my back both went crunch. Just like that. Crunch.
Crunch.
I haven't been able to find the courage to ride anything since then. Anyway, the killer must have used it.
Hold it!
Refresh our memory. How long were you knocked out for?
Like I said, somewhere between 10 to 20 minutes. It's possible to get to the bridge and back in 10 minutes using the snowmobile.
I have to concede that it is more than enough time.
Is that all you wish to concede, Miles Edgeworth?
Hold it!
While it would have been possible time-wise, one element remains out of place here.
And what would this mystery element be?
The killer's reasoning, Your Honor. Why did the killer do all this? Why go to the Eagle River to dispose of the murder weapon when there are other methods?
Too many unanswered questions. Your response, Miss Von Karma?
Turning to me for help over the slightest thing. Why don't you think for yourself once in a while, Your Honor?
What?
She's as over the top as always. Anyway, whatever the reason, the fact remains that the defendant could have done this. The murder weapon was disposed of in the river. Another point to me, Miles Edgeworth. Another mystery to feed the fire. Was there any reason to go and throw away the murder weapon? Luckily, there is surely a problem with this testimony. Now all I have to do is start poking holes in this flawed account. save real quickly before you go any further.
Hold it!
I need answers to every possible doubt.
The snowmobile in question, was it still warm at the time?
Huh? What do you mean? What do you mean?
What do you mean, eh?
What do you mean, Miles Edgeworth? I'm playing to a slow crowd here.
It goes without saying that using a snowmobile will heat its engine. If it was still warm, then it means it was recently used.
Oh, I see. I never thought of that.
That's right. I've overlooked that too.
Of course you did.
Then answer the question, please, witness.
I don't often go around touching hot engines. However, now that you mention it, there wasn't any snow on it.
Snow?
Yes, for some reason, only the snowmobile wasn't covered in snow. There wasn't any snow on it. Curses!
It seems highly likely that the killer did use the snowmobile then, eh?
How long does it take to get to Dusky Bridge by snowmobile?
Objection! Objection!
The photo?
I admit this photograph proves something. It proves that the snowmobile was used on the night of the murder.
You finally accepted the inevitable, it seems, Miles Edgeworth.
However, if what the witness says is true, then why is there only one set of tracks?
What do you mean?
Iris left Tazakura Temple, threw the weapon into the river, and then returned. If this was the case, then naturally there should be two sets of tracks in the snow. Those from heading out to the bridge and those from coming back.
Ah! You're right! You are forgetting one thing, Miles Edgeworth. On the night of the murder, it was snowing. The tracks leading to the bridge were erased by the snowfall. This removes your precious contradiction. Now, doesn't it?
I see. While she was at the river, the snow stopped, leaving just the return tracks in the snow.
What do you have to say now, Miles Edgeworth? Is there a flaw in your theory? This idea that the snowfall covered one set of tracks. Okay. There is a contradiction.
The tracks to the river were covered by snow. What a nice theory. However, Miss Von Karma, that is impossible.
Would you care to explain why there's a rude index finger currently pointed in my general direction?
No need. The evidence will do all the talking for me.
On the night of the murder, the killer went to and returned from Dusky Bridge.
I'll save on the first data.
In order to dispose of the murder weapon, the outgoing tracks were erased by snow, or so claims Miss Von Karma. Miss Edgeworth, present your evidence to the contrary, eh? Evidence that the outgoing tracks were not covered by snow.
It has to be the weather report. Was it?
Witness, please tell us again what time it was when you witnessed the crime.
Like I said, it was around 11.
Of course. This means that the weapon was thrown away after the time, correct? On that note, please take a look at this data. It is the weather report for Eagle Mountain on the night of the murder.
The weather report?
Snow started to fall at 7 p.m., but it stopped at around 10:50. Therefore, when the sister witnessed the crime at 11 p.m., the snow had already stopped falling. It is impossible for any tracks made after that time to have been covered up.
Order, order. Very well, then. It looks like Miss Von Karma's claim has been snowed in. Ah!
It's too soon to be closing this trial due to snow. Miles Edgeworth, how pathetic of you to rely on the weather of all things. Answer me this, then. When is a weather report ever correct?
No. You've got it all wrong. This isn't a forecast. This is actual data. Ah!
Forecast data, all weather reports have some inaccuracies. It may have still been snowing in the vicinity well past 11 p.m.
It's true. We cannot be totally sure.
But what? How did she pull that off?
It had stopped snowing at Hasakura Temple when the murder took place. You need to provide conclusive evidence of this.
We've come this far. There's no turning back now. Oh, great. Now we need to show more evidence. Well, we'll go ahead and save on this part because we already made it a little further.
Very well. I, too, cannot allow my doubt to remain concerning this testimony.
Ha! You can't back down, can you? Such a perfectionist, Miles Edgeworth.
Very well, then, Mr. Edgeworth. Where is your evidence that it had already stopped snowing when the victim was killed?
Take that! Take that!
Oh, the crime photo, okay. I chose the wrong one.
Ultimately, it all comes down to one point. That being whether or not it was snowing in the courtyard when the victim was stabbed.
That's right. But proving that is
incredibly easy. If we want to know whether it was snowing or not, this photo will tell us everything. Of course, I am referring to the photo of the crime scene. As you can see, everything is covered with snow, with just one exception.
And that is
the victim herself, Miss Elise Diaxia. Why is there no snow on top of her? The answer is simple. It had stopped snowing when she was killed. That's why. In other words, if the killer really did go to the Eagle River to dispose of the murder weapon, then in this photograph, there should be two sets of tracks.
Order! Just what are you...
Just what are you suggesting, Miles Edgeworth? To be honest, I'm not entirely sure myself, but
this is simply what all the facts point to. That night, someone used the snowmobile to leave Hasakura Temple. From the tracks left, it can be understood that they were heading for Dusky Bridge. At that time, it was still snowing.
Of course it was, because those tracks were erased by the snow.
Then when this person returned to Hasakura Temple, the snow had stopped. Thus, the returned tracks remained.
Can I say something? This all sounds a bit fishy to me. What does, sister? There is only one key for the snowmobile.
Furthermore, on the night in question, we know that the defendant had it. The key was found in her room after the murder.
Which can only mean that night, Iris used the snowmobile to go to the inner temple. But Iris says she never went there. I should probably press on this point some more when I get the chance. Okay, we gotta save her real quick, because I don't know exactly what's gonna be going down here. The snowmobile can't cross the suspension bridge. So she must have left it on Hazakura's side of the bridge and crossed on foot.
That sounds right.
But what's odd is when I left Iris and returned to Hazakura Temple, I didn't see anything near a dusky bridge.
You must have just failed to see it, sister.
Maybe. But when I made it back to Hazakura Temple, it was there. By the main gate. The snowmobile, I mean. I know what I saw. It was covered in snow, too.
But that is impossible!
Order, order, order in the court. What does this all mean?
So then, what was the snowmobile used for? It wasn't taken by the defendant when she went to the inner temple. If it had been, then the witness couldn't possibly have seen it by the gate. Furthermore, it wasn't used by the killer to dispose of the murder weapon. If that was the case, there should be 2 sets of tracks in this photo. All we know is this. After it stopped snowing, someone used the snowmobile to return to Hazakura Temple.
I thought a simple snowmobile could cause so much trouble.
I think we've learned all we can from this witness.
Yes. I've nothing more to add. I've told you everything. Everything that I know.
But then, that still leaves us with the same problem. If only there was someone, a witness who could testify to having seen the snowmobile.
A witness, huh?
Was there no one out walking, perhaps near Dusky Bridge on that night?
I don't think that's likely. It was cold enough to freeze your ears off. Only an idiot would go out wandering in that. Unless they had something really important to do.
That's a shame.
Hold on. Something is coming to me. An idiot may well have gone wandering out on that subarctic night.
Your Honor, look, actually, there just might be one individual who may be of help to us.
Really?
You know of someone who might have seen the snowmobile on the night of the murder?
I don't know for sure if he saw it or not, but there are 2 things about him that do come to mind.
Which are?
First, that he saw something incredible on the night of the murder.
And the second being?
This individual that I'm thinking of went wandering outside on that cold night. In other words, he is our kind of idiot.
Miss Redworth, who is this idiot you're talking about?
Take that!
Larry Butts.
This guy must be a product of Jean Locke, de Lodoc's Guide to Obnoxious French Painting.
This is Larry Butts, disciple of the victim, Elise the Axiom.
Her student? Interesting. And why was he wandering about outside on the night of the murder?
That's...
I could tell them all about his designs for Iris, but it may cost us his credibility as a witness before I even call him.
He is, after all, an artist. He was perhaps searching for something in the snowy scenery that would move him, although I cannot guarantee that this is the reason.
And so, this unfortunate, unreliable-looking man, what exactly was it that he saw?
I intend to extract that from him, right here in this courtroom.
Summon this youth as a witness immediately!
I have no choice, do I?
I believe he is in the gallery for this trial. It will not take long to summon him.
Very well.
Larry, you may have escaped me yesterday, but today I'm going to get everything out of you.
The court will now adjourn for a 20-minute break. Miss Von Karma, please see to preparing the next witness.
Understood, Your Honor.
Good. Well then, court is now in recess.
So Larry could be our only chance of trying to gather more info. And that snowmobile might play a very important part in this trial. Well, for the first part of it anyway. February 9th, 11:15 a.m., District Court, Defendant Lobby number 1. Excuse me.
Excuse me, Mr. Edgeworth. I'm not really sure what to say.
Iris, we only have 20 minutes. There are 2 things which I need to ask you before we reconvene.
All right. I'll help you in any way I can.
First, about that night. You really didn't go to the inner temple, correct? The last witness claims to have met and talked with you in the training hall. Either you or Sister Bikini is lying.
Mr. Edgeworth, it is just as I said yesterday. Until the incident occurred, I was in my own room, in Hazakura Temple.
Very well. The second thing, then. That night, the temple's snowmobile was used in between the time Sister Bikini returned to the main hall and when she bore witness in the murder. Sometime between 10:30 and 11 p.m. that night. Were you the one who used the snowmobile?
There is only one key for the snowmobile. The only person who could have used it was me.
So it was you. But why? What made you go out to Dusky Bridge?
I'm sorry, Mr. Edgeworth.
Iris.
I can't tell you about that yet.
Yet?
Not until her safety is confirmed.
Her?
The safety of the occult.
The occult?
The occult, huh? She must be talking about Maya.
Iris, look me in the eye and tell me the truth. Did you kill Elise Diaxia?
No matter who or what may come, I could never take a life.
As I thought, no psyche locks.
Very well. It is my job to get to the truth. You'll discover this for yourself soon enough.
So she's hiding something, so until Maya is safe, we can't do anything about this. February 9th, 11:36 a.m., District Court, Courtroom number 7.
Court will now reconvene. Miss Von Karma, where is the witness?
During the break, a man was detained for suspicious behavior in the gallery.
Suspicious behavior?
He was sketching something, very intensely.
Dare I ask what the witness was sketching when he was detained?
He drew a terrifying woman, armed with a demonic face and a vicious whip.
I can only presume that his intention was to capture you.
Anyway, it's time to drag this pathetic excuse for an artist before the court. Loris Diaxium, I hope you're ready. Get in here! It would seem that whip is going to see plenty more use today. There's Larry. Ouch! Your sketch is in contempt of this court. Hey! I was just artistically... Ouch! You tried to run away from the bailiff, who's trying to hand you your Saponia, correct? Look, I'm nothing but a fleeting artist, training out in the mountains. I'm only down here in the city because I ran out of green paint. Well, to us the technical term for the color viridian.
There. This isn't an art store, now is it?
I know! I graduated junior high, okay? Look, art is all about working in the fields, isn't it?
Working in the fields?
I presume he wanted to say field work. I hope.
That's it! Thanks, buddy! It's kind of sad that I was able to understand his mangled train wreck of a sentence. I just happened to stop in here and found a wonderful new model. So see, I've got nothing to do with this trial at all. I expect all of your faces to be red when you realize this mistake. Bright red. Or, to use the technical term, crimson lake. Ouch! Ow, ouch! Ouch! Ouch!
is as bad as cross-checking. Witness, that was all your fault. Testify now.
The judge is pissed. Oh my gosh.
This is too much for me.
Uh-oh. It's been a while since Larry has actually had to testify, since the very first episode. What I saw, here we go.
I was at the lounge out in the mountains, looking up at the stars that night. I walked to the bridge a number of times, but I didn't see a snowmobile. I didn't see anyone at the bridge that night either. The girl I was waiting for didn't show up. My teacher died on me. I'm all alone now. Aren't I edgy?
Witness, please refrain from talking directly to the lawyers during your testimony.
I'm just a nobody. Nothing but a small, worthless man, aren't I? And why wasn't I asked for my name and occupation or anything else?
Mr. Edgeworth, this man seems to have quite a severe inferior complex.
He's recently been the cause of numerous incidents. I think he's finally realized for himself just how much of a nuisance he has been to other people. Yeah, that's right. I'm behind everything. Every case. Watch out, okay? Just touching me will make you internally unhappy.
Well then, let us proceed with the cross-examination, with no touching. Thank you. We can delve into other details at a later time.
Okay. We're just gonna save real quickly.
Hold it!
Whatever is the matter, Mr. Edgeworth?
This one single statement is so full of contradictions. For a moment there, I thought I was going to collapse.
So, witness, any idea as to where these contradictions in your testimony lie? Depending on your answer, I may stay my whip.
Okay, give me a minute. Well, it was snowing that night, so I couldn't possibly have seen the stars. That rundown shack is hardly a lounge, is it? Even if the stars can be seen, it isn't like I was there to look at them, right?
Edgeworth is just speechless. Speechless? See, you can do it if you try.
Ouch!
There is only one issue here. What you saw at Dusky Bridge.
Hold it!
A number of times. How many? Maybe 5 times? I went once every 20 minutes. Which means you spent almost 2 hours at Heavenly Hall that night. You bet. Real love's about waiting with your heart in your hands.
Love, you say?
It was this man's intention to summon the defendant to the small shack, using this blackmail letter.
Blackmail?
No, that was simply a product of a... Ow!
You huffy, puffy, loosey, goosey excuse for a whimpering, whining wuss of a witness.
So, what did you see? I hope for your sake you saw a snowmobile. You huffy, puffy, loosey, goosey excuse for a whimpering wuss of a witness.
He's just repeating everything that Francisca said.
Well, you see...
Being called those names doesn't mean to bother him at all.
Hold it!
Larry, you really didn't see it. Hey! No need to hit your desk. I can hear you. I didn't see it. I didn't see a snowmobile. Larry, say snowmobile for me, please. Snowmobile. If you truly have nothing to hide, then why are you stammering like you just flew over a cuckoo's nest? Shut up! What is this? I don't know. Don't ask me.
Seems that I'll need to start from a more obvious contradiction. I'm going to strike the blow that will finally get him to spill the beans. Which we'll do soon.
Hold it!
You didn't meet anyone? That's right, because I've got nothing to do with this. And I'm just here to buy some Viridian paint, okay? Come on, I expect to see those Crimson Lake faces now.
It would appear that simply pressing him isn't going to be enough, Mr. Edgeworth.
Indeed.
It seems that he's going to claim to have nothing to do with this to the end. I don't want this guy to cost us any more time. I need to slice through his obvious contradictions and keep things moving along. I didn't see anyone at the bridge that night either. There is one person.
Objection!
Phoenix.
Larry Butts, I can understand why you might want to throw your old life away. You're pretty pathetic, and you cause all sorts of trouble. I'm sorry.
That was harsh.
But, having realized just how much of a nuisance you have been, that could be considered a step in the right direction. Edgy, are you trying to console me?
It certainly doesn't sound that way to me.
However, I cannot forgive you for simply turning away from the incidents you created. What? You're totally pinning this on me. Now then, let us talk about the night of the murder. Sister Bikini, after seeing the murder take place, asked Phoenix Wright to report it. Thus, he headed for the public phone by the bridge. There, he happened across a certain nefarious individual. You, Larry Butts. That's right. Me in the flesh.
Listen carefully, witness. It doesn't matter if you change your name. So long as you remain pretty pathetic, you will continue to cause these incidents. That reality will not change.
But what do you want me to do then? Larry, what you need to change is your inner self. But for now, what you saw that night, testifying truthfully about this one issue, is all I need from you. Edgy, I think I've finally woken up. Well, I guess I could still be sleeping. But anyway, I'll do it. I'll testify. Well, I'm not sure if this will go especially well.
I'll ask again then, witness. What did you see on the night of the murder?
What I saw, part 2.
I went to the shack at around 9, so it would have been in about 10:30 p.m. I was lying under my bedding when a white flash almost blinded me. I looked out the window, and Dusky Bridge was on fire. There was still some thunder, but I went right away to check it out. That's when I ran into Nick.
You certainly saw quite a lot, didn't you?
So, what happened to the bridge after it caught on fire?
It was like me after a 3-day stint chasing a girl. It totally burnt out. Like, almost totally gone. I mean, trying to cross the burning remains was what caused Nick to fall.
What did you say?
Oh, don't worry. It's nothing life-threatening. He just caught a cold.
I never know with that man if he should be called lucky or unlucky.
Now, Mr. Edgeworth, please commence your cross-examination.
Okay. Well, we got through the first part pretty easy, but that was just only the first part. The rest of it's probably going to be difficult, knowing Larry.
Hold it!
What did you do out there in the cold for an hour and a half? Well, if you really must know, I was busy being excited, I guess.
Excited? Dare I even ask?
I set the meeting time as 10 p.m., right? But I couldn't wait, and I thought she might come early, too. Well, it appears she didn't come at all in the end.
Because they never arranged to meet in the first place, did they?
Shut up! Don't go picking my fond memories apart. Anyway, I was getting a little worried. I thought maybe Iris had lost her way. So every 20 minutes or so, I went out to the bridge. But I didn't see anything particularly suspicious. I didn't have anything else to do, so I went back to the shack to wait for her.
Hold it!
This light was, of course, lightning. Like kapow! Like a slap from Naomi, honestly. A big bada boom. Ow!
Or a little like that.
That's more like a punch from Miranda.
Witness, did you actually see the lightning hit the bridge?
Well, I was a bit startled by the flash of light, so...
Hold it!
Seeing that, what did you do? What do you think? I was burning up as well, from the fire in my heart.
And that's why you went to take a look at the bridge?
Well, to be honest, it was freezing cold, so at first I thought, forget it, I'm not leaving my covers. But it had pretty much stopped snowing, so I don't know, I changed my mind.
I'm not sure I care for the forget it attitude you had at first witness.
Hold it!
You said right away, but exactly how long after the strike was that? The lightning fell and then the bridge caught on fire. Maybe around 5 minutes. I mean, I suddenly thought, gotta go check this out.
How far is the small shack you were in from the bridge?
Hold on. Well, it had pretty much stopped snowing. I guess about a 5-minute walk. And how did Dusky Bridge look when you got there? Like I had recovered a piece of my childhood. I mean, not even the bonfire kids make during school camping trips can compare.
Well, should I press him for a little more info? Oh my goodness, let's wait a second. I don't think we can expect any more relevant information. Probably best to turn to other leads.
Witness, please continue your testimony.
Let's wait until we get through all these reading procedures.
How did Phoenix Wright look when you met him? He looked like a beaten-up mule. He was dead tired. I mean, he had run all the way from Hazakura Temple. He simply stood staring at me, breathing hard for a moment.
How far is it to Hazakura Temple from the bridge?
On his legs, 50-minute run, I say.
And that's when the murder was reported?
That's right. And then he took a fall from the bridge.
He told me about the burning bridge yesterday, but there's still something that doesn't quite fit. It looks like, despite his change of heart, Larry still isn't telling us the whole truth. Okay, now we need to press him for information that we need to get.
Hold it!
Why didn't you call anyone? Why did you go to the bridge? Let's try this one first.
Larry, let me ask you one thing. What is it, Edgy? What's with the serious face? Why didn't you call anyone? Huh? What do you mean? Normally, when faced with a towering inferno, one would try and tell someone. There was a public phone right by Dusky Bridge, correct? Well, of course I thought of doing that.
So then, let's hear why you didn't.
Huh? Yeah, okay. A reason. My reason isn't I didn't try to tell anyone. I just didn't have time to, okay?
I arrived at the bridge and Nick showed up less than a minute later. Okay, so that's what happened in the first one.
Hold it!
You claim to have arrived at the bridge at the same time as Wright? Yeah! I thought I'd better tell someone about this. When Nick came up yelling about murder, it totally made me forget about the bridge. The fire was pretty much out by then anyway.
What's his feeling? I suddenly have a terrible case of unease. It was after contacting the police that Phoenix Wright fell from the bridge, correct?
Yeah, that's pretty much it. More or less.
Okay, so we'll need to see if it's correct. So I'll save on data 2. I arrived at the bridge and Nick showed up less than a minute later.
Objection!
The weather data?
Your very existence being a contradiction. I'm not sure if you can grasp this or not. What the hey, Edgy? You make me sound like some sort of alien. But your testimony is conclusively contradictory. The problem here is time. I've never been the best timekeeper, you know. 3 minutes after Billy leaves on foot, you follow him on your bicycle. How long does it take for you to catch up with him? Terrible at those. This is much more simple. You saw the lightning strike Dusky Bridge, and immediately went to see what had happened. Is this correct? Yeah, well, I wasted about 5 minutes first, but more or less. I have the weather data from the night of the murder here. According to this, the lightning fell at 10:45 p.m. You say it takes less than 5 minutes from the shack to Dusky Bridge, meaning you probably got there at around 11 p.m. That all sounds about right, I guess. And then Nick showed up and did his falling act.
That is impossible. What do you mean?
11 p.m. is when the murder occurred in Hazakura Temple. Thus, Wright was still there in the courtyard. There is no way that Larry could have encountered him at Dusky Bridge at that time. Excuse me? I have an objection.
You do?
Edgy, how many times do I have to say this? I'm not Larry. I'm Lawrence. Ow!
It has not been proven that the murder occurred at 11 p.m. The sister only said around 11, in which case it could have been earlier than that.
Watch your footing there, Miss Francisca von Karma. The slope ahead is slippery, for there is still no way that Wright could have been at Dusky Bridge at 11 p.m.
And why not?
It is clearly written in here in the weather data report. It took around 30 minutes for the bridge to burn out. Therefore, the bridge must have been burning until at least 11:15 p.m.
Which means what exactly?
Wright did not see the bridge while it was being consumed by the flames at night. In fact, he did not arrive on the scene until the flames had died down. Larry, you arrived at the bridge at 11 p.m., but Wright did not make it there until at least 11:15. I suggest you stop hiding things and just tell us the whole truth. Now then, what happened during these missing 15 minutes? I feel like I just got brutally woken up by a toilet splashback. I guess I was still sleeping after all. Pinch me.
Order. Ow!
So there was a missing 15 minutes period to meeting Phoenix Wright. I hardly see that as much of a problem.
Yeah, not much of a problem at all. Really? The bridge is burning before your eyes, and there is a phone right next to it. Why then did you not report the incident?
Yes, witness. Why didn't you? Were you there simply to watch the bridge burn?
And therein lies the problem, for even after the bridge had burned out, he was still there, staring into space. This witness didn't even attempt to fulfill his civic duty.
That's what it sounds like.
But this is Larry we are talking about, and even he is incapable of being so stupid. Which means there has to be a reason for his inaction. Edgy, I think it's about time I got serious with you, dude. Just as I thought. You've been playing with us all this time. Listen, I'm going to tell you everything. Are you sure you want to hear it all? Yes. I may really say it this time. Ow!
Then say it!
Very well. I have a terribly bad feeling about this. However, let's have the witness finally give us the whole truth. Now, for this 15-minute gap, what were you doing, witness?
The missing 15 minutes.
I'm at the Axiom. I'm an artist. What do you think I was doing? Sketching in front of the bridge. I was whipped up into a frenzy of art. The shock and awe that I was feeling, I transferred it all directly onto the page. Before I realized it, the flames had gone out and then he came running up.
I suppose artists can be strange folk.
That's right. I'm willing to sacrifice everything in order to draw the perfect sketch.
Including the truth from the sound of it.
Miss Redworth, has this removed the last of your doubts?
Not at all, Your Honor. One very large doubt still remains.
And what would that be?
This is a surprisingly believable story, especially considering the source. So why did he think he needed to hide it from us until now? I intend to drag the reason out of him. You'll regret this, Edgy.
I have a bad feeling something's gonna happen. You'll regret this, Edgy. Man,
Is Larry finally starting to get serious here? He is a lovable idiot, but however, this lovable idiot is gonna try to make us regret it.
Hold it!
Tell us, Larry. My name is Maurice. Get it right. Mistakes like that are what keep you from being popular with the ladies like I am.
Just who exactly are you?
I'm Maurice the Axiom, apprentice extraordinaire. That's what he calls himself, in any case.
Then you are an artist.
Of course, I'm an artist, the real thing. Yet again, that's what he calls himself.
Names mean nothing. There is only one issue I care to discuss. What were you doing? That is a very big issue indeed.
Hold it!
Sketching the burning bridge. The burning bridge and everything that came with it. What came with it? You want to hear this from my lips, do you, Edgy? You'll regret this sketch of... Ugh!
Enough! Just take that ridiculous sketch of yours out already, witness.
What are you talking about? I don't know what you mean.
That does indeed appear to be the fastest solution. I'll leave it to you, Mr. Edgeworth.
What should I do? I've got a terrible feeling that the instant this sketch is revealed, the entire world may be changed by what is depicted. Let's leave it alone for a second, and we'll come back to it later.
I cannot recommend looking at the sketch. His work of art are a force of nature, best measured on the Richter scale. That's right! They'll shake your heart to pieces!
This courtroom has yet to meet earthquake standards. I think we'd better pass. In which case, let us turn to other leads.
Hold it!
The burning bridge moved you that much, did it? I find that hard to believe. You moron, Edgy! You don't understand me at all! If I see an abandoned cat, I find myself passing by it with tears in my eyes. I am a man overflowing with irresponsible kindness. And I use my irresponsible kindness to fill the pages of my notebook.
An artist using a notebook. It's so pathetic. It makes me want to cry myself. I commend you to go buy at least a proper sketch pad.
What has that got to do with anything?
I'm not sure if I care for an artist using a notebook for sketching. Proceed, witness.
Hold it!
You forgot the passage of time to that extent, did you? Well, once I get caught up in something, I tend to forget everything else.
That's true. He's always been that way. I guess he's not lying about that, at least. Phoenix Wright appeared on the scene after 11:15. If he was drawing until then, that dispels all doubts.
Aside from doubts of his humanity, eh?
There is a big clue waiting for me in this cross-examination. His testimony does nothing less than mocks the court. But I am sure that there is a vital kernel of truth hidden in it somewhere. It has to go with the sketching that I had to leave alone for now. But we're not going to leave it alone this time.
Hold it!
Because it's time to find out what could it be. Look at the sketch.
Larry, I wonder if you could show us your sketch, please. Well, even I couldn't have imagined it turned out like this. Imagine what? That Maurice the Axiom's debut would take place here, today, like this! Ouch!
Show it now!
Okay, but seal yourselves. This is the world of Maurice the Axiom.
Well. So this is Dusky Bridge, correct?
Oh, it doesn't look that bad. I mean, the drawing looks pretty good. But what I'm suspecting is that person flying up in the air with the flames.
So this is Dusky Bridge, correct? Quite a large bridge, isn't it? Your response, Miss Von Karma?
Yes, well, it's a better drawing than I expected.
Isn't it? Isn't it? I struggled to reproduce those flames. I really did.
Yes, I'm sure you did.
It's going to get ugly. No one has the courage to bring it up, it seems. This mysterious flying object.
Larry. What? The burning bridge is fine. But what is that unfortunate-looking figure? Ah, you spotted that. I thought you might. However much I might want to ignore it, I can't. It's Iris, of course. Iris! I wish she'd take better care of herself. We have to plan for our future, you know. What would have happened to her if she had injured herself flying like that? Larry, please, answer this next question honestly. Okay. Are you really claiming to have seen this? Or are you claiming to have seen the silhouette of the defendant flying over a bridge that was engulfed in flames? Yep, that's what I saw. That's why I drew it. I'm an artist. A real artist.
Are you high? The girl. She's really high up in this picture. Oh, what was that for?
This is all a pet dream. I was hitting you on the cheek to test that theory.
Please whip your own cheek from now on if you wish to test your wild theories. Anyway, no court of law will ever acknowledge that people can fly.
Actually, there is some precedent for this.
She was flying pretty high. My sweet Iris. She was about 30 feet above the bridge, at least. It was really something to see.
This has to be some kind of mistake. Mr. Edgeworth, please bring the witness back down to earth.
What? Me?
This witness is your friend, is he not?
Accessory to foolishness, Miles Edgeworth.
Let us get back to the cross-examination by force if necessary. Mr. Edgeworth, I expect you to expose the obvious contradiction here.
Yes, Your Honor.
Looks like I've got another reason to remember this moron.
Well, what do you think of my debut piece?
Get that thing away from me!
Larry's sketch. Horrible sketch of what he saw the night of the crime.
Now, hurry up and cross-examine him.
I saw Iris flying, her white hood fluttering. Her white hood fluttering.
Hold it!
Wait just a minute. Well, let's first press it.
Just where did you see this sight from? Hey, no need to shout. I was lying in bed in that rundown shack. The crack of the lightning bolt made me realize that the bridge was burning. I just watched it for a while from there, thinking how nicely it was burning. And after about 5 minutes, I saw it.
The defendant flying.
That's right. That's when I decided to go to the bridge.
I see. It all makes sense, aside from the sketch itself.
Yes, this sketch doesn't make any sense. Just need to convince the artist that his work is ludicrous. I don't know why I'm kind of thinking this, but that sketchbook might come back in handy at some point. Her white hood fluttering.
Objection!
But Iris wasn't wearing a hood.
Larry, what did you really see that night? Not that I particularly care. In your position, that's just being irresponsible. I drew exactly what I saw. I'll give you a whole $1 if it's the truth. If that is truly the case, then there is one thing that we can say for certain.
What might that be?
That the person who flew over the bridge could not have been the defendant Iris. What? What do you mean? I don't understand. Ugh!
A foolhardily folly of a foolish statement by an equally foolishly foolhardily fool. How exactly can you make this claim?
Tell us, Larry. According to this picture, the individual whom you say you saw was wearing a hood, correct? Of course she was. That rundown shack is quite away from the bridge. The hood is what told me that this floating angel was my Iris. The hood is my darling Iris, and Iris is my darling hood. Ah! It's
seems there are bigger fools in this world than the one at the defense bench.
Larry, there's something you need to be made aware of. On the night of the murder, Iris wasn't wearing her hood. She had given it to Wright as a gift. Are you going to change your story now? Perhaps suggest it was Wright who took flight. What are you talking about? I think you understand what I mean just fine. Why? Why did Nick have Iris's hood? What? Edgy, what's going on with Iris and Nick? Why you, Nick? You dog!
Uh-oh. This isn't gonna look very good, is it?
I do believe this unbelievably mysterious sketch is destined to disappear, discredited and discarded, straight into the garbage.
Oh! What is it now, witness?
It feels like I've been waiting 25 years for this very day to come. Edgy, today's the day I get to completely stupefy you. What?
What is the meaning of your outburst, witness?
I hate to have to do this, but I have some definite evidence. Definite evidence? Iris did indeed come flying over the burning bridge. And I, Lori Axiom, shall prove it.
I didn't expect to ask this again, but we shall be needing your testimony once again. Tell us anything you know concerning the defendant as depicted in the sketch, and show us your evidence that this nightmare was actually a reality.
Okay, I hope you're ready, Edgy, because I'm going to feed you a whooping serving of pain.
You've been serving us a whooping serving of pain this whole time. Trust me. Here we go. Proof that Iris flew.
When I reached Dusky Bridge, she was already gone. I was so worried, so I frantically searched all over for her. That led to me finding a beautiful crystal sphere, half buried in the snow. I'm sure that Iris was simply wearing a sphere hood. After all, no one else could have lost a crystal sphere that night.
A crystal sphere?
This one. Pretty, isn't it? But finders keepers.
That sphere. Where did you find it?
Let me see. Around here somewhere. Looks about right. And it was half buried in the snow. It had pretty much stopped snowing by then. But there was still some falling as I walked to the bridge.
The court accepts this crystal sphere.
That's mine, okay? I want it back afterward.
There's something on it. Oh my. It's blood.
What? Blood? Crystal sphere found half covered in snow near Dusky Bridge. The night of the crime has blood on it.
You ready, Edgy? By tomorrow morning, you'll be calling me Master Larry. Yeah, I like the sound of that. No one's going to push me around anymore.
Didn't you want to be called Lorice Axiom only a few minutes ago? Okay, now we need to figure out how we can contradict that. Okay, let's save them both down because we did move on to this one. And I think we're almost at the end of this first part of the trial. I think we just need to get through this now.
So, you went to the burning bridge. That's right, to meet Iris. She actually flew to get to me. The least I could do was meet her halfway.
But the defendant was not at the bridge when you got there, you say?
I guess she went back to Hazakura Temple. She's a girl, after all. She must have wanted to look her best.
Must be lovely to live in a fantasy land of Larry's mind. Actually, it's so depressing that I can't even work up the energy to point.
So what did you do next?
Hold it!
So you search all over for her. She was flying pretty high, you know. I thought maybe she slipped on her landing and got hurt. Hey, it was more than possible. Also, when I headed out to the shack the first time, I was snacking on a banana. I was pretty sure I threw the peel away somewhere around there, so you know.
Can one guy really be this stupid?
So, did you find any signs of her so-called landing? I don't really remember. I kept on falling over myself and kind of lost it for a while there.
You fell over yourself?
Yeah, the snow was deep, and there was even a banana peel out there.
Yep. There's Stupid, and then there's Larry Butts.
The short of it is that you didn't find any signs of her landing, correct? Then what happened next?
Hold it!
Half buried. It was sitting in the snow with a little gabbard on top of it. It was very hard to spot, actually. I mean, it was dark out, too.
I'm impressed. You did well to find it.
No matter what you may think when you look at me, I'm a pro. A genius security guard. I used a pen light I borrowed from my company to help in my search. And it sparkled really brightly, as if it was saying, "Here I am" to me. It does indeed look very much like the crystal sphere on Iris's hood. But need I remind you that she was not wearing her hood that night?
Hold it!
Each nun is assigned their own hood, and they are assigned only one. I don't know anything about that, okay? And Iris is special, alright, dude? Even if she did steal a spare hood, I'll forgive her.
This is getting us nowhere. Our destination for the day, it seems.
However, this crystal sphere was found near the bridge. That is a fact. If it didn't come from a hood, where could it have come from?
That's the question I aim to answer.
Hold it!
Let me confirm this one last time, Larry. The reasons you thought that this was Iris are the hood and this crystal sphere, correct? That's right. My gut is never wrong. I met that old bikini the next morning. And her crystal sphere was still there, safe and sound.
Indeed. She was wearing it in this very room earlier today.
This case isn't going to end without a fight. Exposing any obvious contradictions in its testimony will be easy, but I fear that all that awaits us are further mysteries. There is a chance.
Objection!
No one can... Okay, I think it has to be this testimony. I think it has to be the one where he said... Let me get to this real quick. After all, no one else could have lost a crystal sphere that night.
Objection! 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 Objection!
Oh wait! The victim's staff!
Objection!
So it has to be the victim's staff! Elise's staff, because... Oh yeah, that's right! The staff did have a sphere, looking back at this picture, okay.
Larry, that night, there was someone who lost a crystal sphere. There was? Who? Who was this stupid idiot? Miss Elise Diaxiom, the mentor to a stupid idiot.
The victim?
I have a photo of her here. And on the end of her staff, you can see a familiar-looking crystal sphere. Hey! That's my photograph! Give it back! Ouch!
A crystal sphere like that is quite easy to find. I have one just like it on my brooch. They look nothing alike.
In any case, please take a look at this. This is the victim's staff, found at the scene of the crime.
Ah, the crystal sphere. It's gone.
What? What?
Just what does this mean?
If anyone jumped or flew across the bridge that night, it certainly was not Iris after all. She was not wearing her hood. More importantly, the crystal sphere found at the landing site was not hers either.
That means the one who flew and dropped the sphere was the victim, Miss Elise the Axiom.
A fool alongside another fool, on a fool's errand to reach a foolish conclusion. First of all, this sketch, which I prefer to call a scribble, is ridiculous. People cannot lie. Thus, it is rejected.
You can't do that! I saw the eyes!
And this crystal sphere, this is nothing more than a red herring.
You honestly believe that?
Give it some thought, and I'm sure you'll realize it as well, Miles Edgeworth. At least the Axiom was in her room on the night of the murder. There was no reason for her to go to Dusky Bridge. Therefore, this sphere cannot be related to this case. That is all.
Miss Francisca von Karma, the only people who will accept that explanation are scatterbrains and clowns. Why are you pointing at me? The victim's crystal sphere was found near the bridge on the night of her murder. Yet you expect us to believe this has nothing to do with the case.
That crystal sphere, it was probably thrown away at the bridge after the murder.
After the murder?
There is blood on the crystal sphere, isn't there? This naturally suggests that it was thrown away after the murder took place. The killer placed it there to throw the investigation off the scent, which is the exact same reason that he drew that ridiculous sketch.
What? You mean I'm the killer? No!
All joking aside, just when did this crystal sphere appear near the foot of the bridge? Unless this can be proven in some way, I refuse to believe this is related to the case. She makes a valid point. There's no evidence that Elise the Axiom left Hasakura Temple that night. However, if somehow this crystal sphere can be proven to have been dropped before the victim was killed, then this case is going to transform into something else entirely.
Your response, Mr. Edgeworth?
My oh my, this is getting crazy.
I want your final opinion on the disposition of this crystal sphere. If it is not related to the case, then this witness who you called will have been nothing more than a monumental waste of time.
Prepare yourself for some very appropriate punishment, Miles Edgeworth. Can I prove it? Can I prove that the crystal sphere was dropped before the murder took place? Can I prove it? That isn't the issue. To simply prove it, that's the only option. That's what he'd do. That's the way Phoenix Wright would do this.
Your Honor, allow me to prove something to you. I will prove that this crystal sphere is a vital link to solving this case.
You will do what?
Then look in your eyes. As I look in your eyes, you remind me of Phoenix Wright when he is cornered.
That should come as no surprise.
Because right now I am Phoenix Wright, and I am indeed cornered.
I order you to present your evidence, Mr. Edgeworth.
Let me save on the first data.
Evidence that proves that the crystal sphere was indeed dropped before the murder.
Okay, that wasn't the evidence.
Take that!
Okay, wasn't that one either. Would it be the autopsy, maybe?
Take that!
Okay, so it wasn't the autopsy, the victim's staff. Okay, so it wasn't that one. As long as you keep saying birds or something like that, then it's wrong. The note to Iris? Wasn't that one either. Oh my gosh. Okay, so wasn't this one, that one, or this one? Did I try Iris's hood? I don't think I did. It could be a person, but I don't want to go into that just yet.
Take that!
Hanging scroll. Okay, that was dead wrong too. So let's see.
Take that!
The magazine issue? Okay, it wasn't that one either. I'm just trying out random evidence and seeing which one's correct. Let's see. Hazakura Temple map. Okay, wasn't that either. The weather data. Okay, so it wasn't any of those. So it has to be the other evidence at the far back. And we already used Elise's photo, and the autopsy. The crime photo? Oh, it's the crime photo, okay.
This crystal sphere, it was half buried in the snow, correct? That's right. If it hadn't stopped snowing, then it would have been game over. The snow would have totally covered it. That's all I needed to hear from you, Larry. Your testimony makes one thing quite clear.
What?
When the crystal sphere was dropped, it was snowing, even if it was ever so slightly.
Snowing.
On the other hand, let us look at the scene of the murder. As proven earlier today, there is no snow on the victim's body.
Ah.
Therefore, the crystal sphere must have been dropped before the murder.
What? What?
Order! Order! Order!
On the night of the murder, the victim did indeed go to Dusky Bridge. And there, something occurred that caused the staff's crystal sphere to come loose.
What? What could that have been?
This sphere, there is some blood on it, isn't there? Allow me to raise a certain possibility at this junction. The real crime scene was near the foot of Dusky Bridge.
The murder didn't take place in the Hazakura Temple courtyard? Only a fool would suggest such a foolish piece of absolute foolishness.
Just who is the fool? And which part is so foolish, Miss Von Karma?
Have you been paying any attention this whole time, Miles Edgeworth? The sister saw everything. She saw the victim being killed by the defendant in the Hazakura Temple courtyard.
Objection!
That's not exactly true, now is it? To put it more precisely, what she saw was the murder weapon being removed from the victim's body.
That's the same thing!
No, it isn't. You said it yourself.
Very little blood is actually lost. At the moment of the blade's insertion, If you want to talk about when the most blood would be lost from a body, that would be when the blade is removed.
If that statement is the truth, then Dusky Bridge could very easily be the scene of the murder. The murder weapon was not removed. Thus, there is no bleeding.
You are forgetting one vital thing, Miles Edgeworth. Elise Deoxium's body was found in Hasakura Temple. On foot, it takes 15 minutes to travel from Dusky Bridge to Hasakura Temple. You mean to suggest someone carried the body all that way? I've made it this far. The only place to take this is to the end. I just need to prove that my version of the events is also perfectly plausible. Oh my goodness. There's a lot to really break down here.
Now, if the defense is ready, the court would like to have an explanation. Please show us the method by which the victim's body was carried to Hasakura Temple.
The tracks!
On that snowy night, there is one way that a body could have been moved. The snowmobile. As we know, the snowmobile was used that night. It was explained as having been used to dispose of the murder weapon, but it could have also been used to carry a body.
Order, order, order!
This is completely unacceptable, Miles Edgeworth. You've dug yourself into your own grave.
What do you mean?
The only one who could have used the snowmobile was the defendant. She's the one who moved the body. Doesn't it put the final nail in your coffin?
You're too late, Franziska von Karma. And in fact, the defense has proven something else entirely. We have shown that this case requires further investigation.
What?
Where was the victim, Elise Deoxium, really killed? If her body was moved, whatever for? And finally, just what does this image mean?
Do you even need to think about that? Such a creature could never see the truth, let alone describe it.
This witness certainly sits on one of the lowest possible branches of humanity. However, he would never utter a lie that could hurt a girl with whom he is enamored. He drew this, so it is something that actually happened. The defense stands firm on this point. Edgy. Thank you.
That settles it, then. I cannot give a verdict under these circumstances.
Right. I seem to have fulfilled my part in this.
It is just as I thought. Franziska von Karma, you make a wonderful partner.
Excuse me?
There was one reason, and one alone, for me being here. To expose the darkness lurking in this case, and then pass it on to Wright. Really? That's what this was all about? You could have just told me that from the very beginning. Then I wouldn't have Francie with me all...
Miles Edgeworth, I don't care about what you were here to do. This was my chance to finally grind you under my heel.
A shame that your chance seems to have slipped you by. What a shame, Francie!
This is all your fault. Such a terrible witness. You are an afford to all the Ow!
Ow! Ow! Ow!
I demand satisfaction!
I cannot believe that the witness' testimony relates to an actual event. However, there has to be some sort of answer for the questions it raises. Have his words here today been the truth or lies? Next time we gather in this courtroom, those are the matters that shall be addressed. I am counting on thorough investigations by both the defense and the prosecution.
And with this, the rest is up to you, Wright.
Court is now adjourned.
To be continued. Oh my gosh. Wow. That was crazy. That was crazy as hell. I've already saved.
Alright. We are actually going to head back to the title screen. Well, we got past the first part of the final trial, and there's a lot of questions waiting to be answered. Like, why was Elise the Axiom located in Dusky Bridge? Because if she wasn't killed in the courtyard, she was killed in Dusky Bridge. And if that is the case, why was she there, and what was her reasons of being there in the first place? This brings a lot of suspicion, and this brings a lot of questions. I have no idea what's going to happen in the next episode, but however, things are now going to start getting more crazier, and it looks like we are going to be going back into playing as Phoenix Wright, since Edgeworth did his part. Well, that seems to be the case. But anyway, wow. Seeing Franziska von Karma return was amazing. I did not expect she would be back at all. This was just insane. Insane, I would say. And I have to say, I really did enjoy going through this trial. And I can't wait to see what's going to happen next. But we now have to go back doing the investigation, which could actually be the last time we do an investigation. And then all that's left to do will be a trial. So, yeah, obviously, another crazy episode has ended. And as much as I do want to see what happens next, I believe we're going to save all of that for the next episode. So guys, that is going to be it for part 43 of my Let's Play of the Phoenix Wright Ace Attorney Trilogy. I really hope you guys have enjoyed this video as much as I have. And in the next episode, we are going to be doing the next part of the investigation, which could possibly be the last investigation that we will ever be doing in the trilogy. But what can we find, and what sort of new evidence could we find that could bring this trial to a close? We will find out soon enough. So you guys do not want to miss what's going to happen on the next part of my Let's Play of the Phoenix Wright Ace Attorney Trilogy. And I guess that's all for me. So until next time, this is XD6. Hope you guys have a great night. I will see you guys in part 44 of my Let's Play of the Phoenix Wright Ace Attorney Trilogy, where the investigation will continue. And I will see you guys in the next video. Until then, farewell and have a good night.